Okay, YouTube, why not? Round three. I just wanted to do a quick video, another mystery cube. These have been really fun for me to do. Hardly anyone's watching them, but that's okay. That's not the point. The point is for anybody who's interested in seeing how the real life of kind of buying broken game cubes and trying to sell them. So this one is still in the plastic from the seller. You can see a little bit of peeking through. I picked this one up as part of a bundle. I'm going to flash that up now through the magic of editing. This one I paid a little bit more for because there are 4 systems. All of them work as far as I know, which is hilarious. I think that a lot of these, this is off of shopebay.com, which is a auction site that shopgoodwill.com, which is a auction site that Goodwill runs themselves. And it's like these kind of major regional hubs of Goodwill divert things that they think are worth money into this auction system. And so you can find some good deals. Where they really get you is shipping. So this cost a lot to ship. eBay shipping is negotiable. Often it's cheaper. So keep an eye out for that. So I perused both, but this was part of a bundle. I bought this just because I loved the idea of trying to fix different systems. This came with an N64, a Super Nintendo, and a Genesis, all of which power on and seem to work. So I may just have a cleaning job on my hands. This one, though, I picked up. This also included a GameCube, and it should have a Game Boy player on it, which is a new thing for me. In the future, I'm going to mod chip my personal GameCube so that I can play backup discs and get the backup disc for the Game Boy player, because it doesn't play with that as a disc, which is really annoying, and actually be able to use the Game Boy player. But I have no idea what I'm getting into. This is untested, so just come along with me. Chances are this is just going to be a cleaning job, but if it's more nuanced than that, I may cut and then come back to it. So let's just see what this is all about. All right, so here we are. System looks pretty good. You can see lots of yellowing through here, some scratches, but no major damage. What's nice about, like I mentioned about the platinum cubes, is that they tend to have scratches in them are really hard to get rid of because it's paint. It's not like it's not like the molded plastic color, so it's really hard to clean them appropriately. But this is in really great shape. Let's see if it opens. Okay, it does. The laser assembly looks pretty good. I know you can't really see super well, but this is a DOL 001 model. It's unclear whether this is the one that's made in China or Japan, but you can always tell because it has the 2 ports. So yeah, I'm gonna pull the Game Boy player off real quick and just check underneath here. And then, since I'm not noticing any sort of obvious problems with it, we'll boot it up and see if it works. And you know, it may be boring to watch, but 99% of the time when I buy these off the internet and they're listed as for parts, they work. At least they boot up. The vast majority of problems with them come with the laser unit, right? So like there's things we can do about that, but more often than not, they just work. So there's your Game Boy player. It fits into this expansion port here. The other port covers are covered, and it looks to me like, and this is the slightly later revision. It's made in China. What it looks like to me is this is supremely clean down here, which means that this may have always been on there. You know what I mean? This person may have bought the GameCube and bought the Game Boy player, and then just that was kind of their. It is spotless. These covers are absolutely spotless, and there's no dust in here. A little bit of hair maybe. Cool. So my guess is this is going to work. Let's fire it up. Let me get my power cord here. Test bench. I've got kind of permanently plugged in here just because I'm always kind of moving and grooving. And for anybody who watched the previous videos, thank you, first of all. You know, it feels good to have somebody watch something you spent some time on, but hopefully, you know, some of this was informative. I am currently selling the first GameCube that I worked on, the one that the laser unit was all which it had been broken apart by being dropped. I think, you know, if it sells for even $50, I'll break even on it, which is nice. So I'm already kind of moving these out the door, which is kind of a fun feeling. So yeah, let's see if this turns on. There we go. All right, we got a light. That's good. Okay. All right, we got a fix on our hands. It's not spinning. I'm getting no spinning noise at all out of this. Okie doke. Let's, this is exciting. Let's crack this open and see what's wrong with it. And I have some replacement parts that I can use for the spindle. I have a replacement laser. We'll just have to get in here and see. And, you know, I may do some cutting. We'll see. If this takes longer, you know, I don't have a ton of time today to work on this. I just finally got this in the mail and thought I'd check it out. And you see, it didn't even boot. It didn't even, I want to check one more time. It didn't even bring up the, the boot screen. A lot of times when the disc doesn't spin, it will at least, I'm just double checking that. A lot of times when the screen doesn't start, or the spindle doesn't spin, it will still at least do the kind of firmware, you know, it'll play the chime. But I'm not seeing that. Fascinating. Okay, cool. This will be a first for me. Even the ones that I've repaired that have problems with the spindle or the motor or whatever, they at least display the default startup screen. So this is turning out to be a slightly more, oh shit, that's no good. Sorry about that. It's a great way to break it more. Let's get sunshine out of there before I hurt it anymore. Okay, so this is, you know, like I said, this is never a good idea. You shouldn't do this unless you're absolutely certain what you're doing. But I'm going to just plug this in and run it while this top is off, just to see if it's a matter of, okay. So what I'm testing here is to see if this catch, which lets the machine know whether the lid is closed or not, has not been, is maybe bad, because that's one reason why it wouldn't even bother spinning. But it seems to me like it's in pretty good shape, and it's not, this doesn't seem bound up. Interesting. This is super interesting. Okay. Unplugging it, hitting it several times to try to discharge those capacitors. The weird thing is I'm not seeing a ton of obvious things that it could be. Everything looks like it's connected. This looks connected. There's no rust anywhere. It's hard to show, but I can't see any obvious water damage to it, which is one reason why, you know, some wire somewhere could be corroded and the whole thing could just kind of not work. The power supply could be bad. That could be a really easy way to fix it. I'm just gonna check one last time on something. I didn't check to see if the fan was spinning, which is something that is useful to know. So I'm just gonna plug it in one more time. Just see if that fan is spinning. Okay, the fan is spinning. We already knew this part was getting power because we've got the LED there. And the fan is spinning, which means that the power is going from this port here through this wire down to the power supply and then back to here, because it all comes, other things plug into the power supply. So we know that at least the path from the plug to the power supply to here is fine. So my guess is there's something wrong with the actual laser unit, which is interesting. So let's just have a look-see. How about it, folks? And like I said, I may cut just because I did this kind of randomly when I had an hour in the afternoon on a work day. And I have some things to do this afternoon, but I might be able to, ooh, interesting. That screw didn't like my lower size screwdriver there. So there's a chance this has been opened already. Let's see. It's impossible to tell whether this has been opened already, really. There's no like warranty. Like I know a lot of systems these days have like the void warranty if stickers on them. So the second that someone's been in there, you can tell. That is not the case, at least to my knowledge on these. If it is the case, then literally every one I've ever opened has been opened before. So there's that. Plenty of dust. All the screws look fine. Just a little fascinated. Okay, cool. Well, I'm just gonna fast forward and then we'll see if I find anything on first blush. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this off and you can see a pretty normal kind of dust pattern of the air going through. The board looks pretty clean. The main board, that is. Nothing to really report there. No water damage that's obvious. All the connectors look nice and shiny. I'm no expert on capacitors, but all of those look nice and clean. I'm going to focus on the disk drive here because my guess is something is wrong here. Maybe something is disconnected. One thing that I always try to do, and I haven't really had a chance to do in the last couple fixes because they either already worked or the problem is super obvious. I always try to clean all the connections. One thing that can happen and just kind of happens randomly is if the connections kind of get dirty or grimy. There's no evidence to suggest that that's necessarily the case here, but I can't imagine why I wouldn't be getting even a little bit of power to this top board considering everything else is getting power. So let's see. So all of this looks pretty fine. Nothing looks nothing looks like it's an issue. Even the connectors in here look fine. I'm just not seeing any problems here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, this is a useful tool for anybody. It's WD-40 contact cleaner. I don't think the WD-40 has any sort of patent on it. I think that any contact cleaner will do, but it's a really useful thing to have for these kind of projects because you can just kind of blast any place where contact is made, electrical contact, and then you can rest assured that you've done your best to clean it. I'm going to pop this ribbon cable out. I'm just going to pop all these ribbon cables out and pop all these cables out. And then, if this doesn't work, and I'm hoping it does, because sometimes you never know. It's like the classic, have you tried restarting it and starting it? You know what I mean? Like it seems like a stupid solution, but often it's the only thing that works. I'm going to clean all this, and then if it comes to it, I will start replacing parts, which I have pretty much all the parts I need just spare to replace here. And so if it's, I would start, I think, just logically, I would start with this catch here, the piece I'm working on that goes here and tells the device whether or not, and you can spray some contact cleaner down in there too, just to make sure these are making correct contact. This would be the first thing I would think would be broken because it's not even, I have no evidence that there's even any Like, I don't even know if the laser could be broken because it's not even engaging, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to plug all these ribbon cables back in. And then I'm going to maintain, I mean, you'll notice I'm pretty lazy about fixing these. I'm just going to maintain the least amount of broken downness that I can in order to try and eliminate these variables and then test it on the fly, you know, so I can keep on plugging it in and testing it. So I've just unplugged and plugged back in all of these and sprayed them with contact cleaner. I'm going to do the same to the actual socket and the socket that it goes into. Chance to dry. And then let's just plug this puppy back in and see. I'm just amazed because typically whenever there's any sort of, I know I touched the laser assembly there. I'll clean that. I'm just trying to see if it'll just turn on, you know, this is really strange. So I know that, there are plenty of things that can break on these, but this is genuinely the first time I've ever been in a situation where it just won't even spin. So it's just on the off chance that one little bit was the fix. Let's see. No, nothing. Oh, whoops. I forgot the catch. Interesting. It's still not working. I'm listening for any sort of signs of life, like clicking or buzzing. Nothing. I'm just not seeing anything. This is really bizarre. So my wonder is, maybe it has nothing to do with the laser assembly. Maybe I'm actually on the wrong case. Maybe it is the power supply or something. Huh. Okay. Well, let's keep going. Let's keep on going down and seeing if we can find anything obvious that's wrong with this, because I have absolutely no reason to believe that there's anything wrong with the board that I just saw. That's one of the cleanest boards. This whole system is one of the cleanest systems I've ever seen. So I don't have any reason to believe that is broken. So I'm just going to keep on going down, see what I can see down here at the bottom. If there's some sort of, I'm just speculating, and you're just living this live with me, but there's a chance that the bottom is being jostled quite a bit. I guess if they were plugging and unplugging the Game Boy player. So let's just see if there's any way that the power got disconnected down here or something. And we know there was some power coming up because, like I said earlier, the power goes in here, down through this wire, into the power supply, then back up to this board, which is how this was lighting up. So there had to have been some power coming through this board. So I'm inclined to think, unless there's something obvious wrong with this, if the power supply is not strong enough, Huh. What the hell is this? This is something I've never seen before. 2 anic. Is this like a aftermarket, like modded power supply? Is this some sort of this is a DOL 001. This is a revision that is for USA. It's not this is not been region modded or anything that I know of. Huh. That's like handwritten or stamped or something like that. I do not know what this is. You know what I'm going to do? Just on the off chance that this is the solution, I'm going to just go ahead and grab a spare power supply. And this might be stupid, but I am almost 100% certain they take all the same exact power rating, and so they're pretty swappable. But one thing that I've noticed is they all look a little different from every revision, and I'm not smart enough to have made the connection early enough to like start tracking, you know, which revision looks like what. So I'm just going to grab another power board. And this, remember when I said earlier, it just kind of reeks of like not enough power is getting to the right place. This could be there's the power board just for reference. It says 2 ANIC on it, 2 ANIC, and I don't know what that means. And this, and I may be the stupidest man in America, but this looks like some sort of mod. So maybe this person was fooling with their power board. I don't know. I'm gonna look this up, but not right now. I'm gonna go grab another power board. Got a great big box of parts here from other systems. And I've got at least one power board. Yeah, here it is. It's from a different revision though, I think, which is fine. I genuinely don't think there's any sort of problem there. You can see how kind of wildly different they look. You see these big, crazy, I don't even know what those are. These are capacitors, obviously, along these big things, but I don't know what those are. But you can see just how different these look kind of year to year. I'm not sure if there's any sort of date on these. I can't readily see if anybody is watching this and knows what the hell the difference is between these things, or knows what this is. I mean, I'm going to look it up, so hopefully I'll know by the time you do, but if someone knows what that is. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop this in, and we'll risk the smoke test. And you know what? Even if it does explode, it'll be worth it for science, right, guys? I'm just going to tack this down with a screw just to make sure it's where it needs to be. I'm going to clean the connector real quick. Because this is, I mean, otherwise just such a clean system. But it would make sense that maybe somebody tried to mod this and like didn't know what they were doing. Oh, sorry, that's a rookie mistake. You got to plug this in. So this power plug goes down into the. There we go. This goes down like so. Then we get our. So again, never ever run your system for very long in this configuration. I've removed obviously these big RF shields that, you know, keep everything safe. All I'm doing right now is just seeing if this powers on. Ooh, that was spooky. So first of all, I'm not sure you saw that. It did power on, but because I had accidentally left the power button pressed down. Okay, one more time. Huh. Okay, the plot thickens. It wasn't the power supply, although I've never seen this before. So I'll just leave the other power supply in there for now while I continue to work on this, and we'll see what we can see. So then my original theory is wrong. There is apparently the right amount of power going where it needs to go. So let's get into the laser unit and see what's cracking under here. I'm gonna take these ribbon cables out. Whoops. Well, that's no good. I accidentally Accidentally popped the little catch off of that ribbon cable. I don't know exactly how that goes back in. Let's get the spotlight on it. That's probably more for me than it is for you guys, because you probably can't really see what I'm doing with this light. But I'm just trying to figure out how this, I was just routinely taking this clip out, and it just kind of popped out. I'm pretty sure it just goes on the edges, and I don't have to, I'm overthinking it. Yeah, okay, we'll approach that when we get to it. Okay, so let's get this board off, and we'll take a look at the laser assembly itself. The wild part is I'm just not getting any sort of movement at all from the laser. I mean, typically the laser will try to fire the spindle will go. So there must be something really wrong or disconnected. I mean, the main board could be fried somehow. I guess this board could be fried somehow. That's no good. Obviously, we don't want that. Okay. So I'm not seeing any obvious problems with the board. So I'm going to put that back. You know, sometimes you can see if there's been damage or whatnot. So I'm going to put that back down. Not going to fool with that right now. I think I once said that putting all of the screws in one jar was fine because they're all different. There's only a couple of different kinds, but those are kind of famous last words, because this is extremely similar to the screw that you use for the on the heat sink. The one on the heat sink is a little bit longer, so they're not transferable. They both have a little washer. Here it is. Okay, just had to fish around for it a little bit. Man, this is a real thinker, y'all. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna pop out the laser unit, and I'll just be pleased if there's some sort of weird, you know, easy to diagnose damage to it, because right now I'm feeling kind of inadequate. Okay, here we are. So you can see the laser travels freely. There's no obvious problem here. It's still greased. All of the solder joints look fine and connected. I'm just looking at my bag of parts here to see if I've got anything I can. Okay, here's something just to kind of keep this going along. I'm going to swap out this spindle motor just while I'm here, because I've got one just standing by. I don't think the laser would be at fault here, because the laser would at least turn on if it was getting any power. And I don't know enough. I'm a bit of a hack. I don't know enough about how this actual machine works to know what parts are essential. You see, like some parts can be kind of unplugged and the thing will turn on anyway. I don't know for sure which components those are. And so, for instance, you have to leave the controller ports plugged in, because the reset button, I think, makes a circuit. So this has to be plugged in order for the system to turn on at all. and like read a disk. And so, you know, I don't know if any of these components in the laser unit are absolutely essential. So I'm just replacing what I can right now because I've just got one sitting here. I've also got a replacement laser I can put in, and I've got a replacement for everything in this assembly. I don't have a replacement board. The last board I got that was scrap was really truly scrap. So I don't know if I can do that. But we'll see. So I'm just putting this back together, popping it back on its little feet. We've got our ribbon cables in the right place. I hope the mic isn't picking up the kind of constant hum of the TV, because that would be annoying. But you know what I'm also going to do? I'm also going to replace this right here, this catch, because this is also something that is like absolutely essential. I'm certain of it. So I've got one of those I can swap out too from a working unit. Because if this is broken, then the whole thing's going to break. It's the flimsiest little piece of plastic, but it's the most essential. What is it that Tolkien said about the smallest creatures doing the most good or something? All right, so that goes in here. And that was a super quick fix, by the way. I realized I did that against my chest. Just with one screw right there in the center. You pop it out. It's like the most simplistic mechanism. All right, let's see if I didn't screw this up too much. Okay, I did. This needs to come off and go around the other way. Ugh. Oh, there go the dogs. Okay, this is the whole thing. Let's see if it works. Let's see if any of those things, those two variables that we changed, were somehow the magic bullet. I do not have great faith that they were. But I'm just intrigued by this. Okay, I have another idea. So this piece here, it could be bad too. So I've got replacement power input and fan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap that out, and let's just see if that's the issue. I know these work. They were from my working unit as well that had a different issue. So actually, well, okay, fair enough. You see this piece here, though, I'm not going to replace. I'm just going to take this board off and take the fan out because those are two things that I've got spares of. And how funny would it be if all along it was just I feel like that's I'm just like betting on that being the issue every time. Like, how funny it would be if X was the issue. It's not going to be any of these, and I'm going to get stumped. All right, so this new fan is going in. That's my dog protecting the house from the FedEx guy. I'm going to try and cut out the part where he freaked out and barked, but what I'm not going to cut out is this loud slurping. He drinks like an absolute maniac. All right, so hey bud. So this is now swapped. The fan is swapped out. And then I'm also going to swap out this power board. They look identical. They both say 2001 DOL power 01. So there's no, although this has, if you can see this, this has, I don't know what any of this means, obviously, but see that? It says 8 right there. And this one says 9. No clue. Oh shit, I shouldn't have plugged that in, sorry. So I'm taking this off. So just one screw right in the center. We'll just see if this is some sort of issue. So here's our new one, number 9, number 9, number 9. There we go. And there we go. And we'll pull out this power cord and we'll plug in this power cord. Okay, that's swapped out. So we swapped out these pieces and this piece and the fan. So we've now swapped out all of this: the power supply, the spindle motor, the power plug, the fan, and the catch holds the device if it's closed. So we're just kind of replacing things willy-nilly, and we're just chucking hand grenades at this until it turns on and reads a disk. Let's try again. That sounded a little different. I'm going to try it one more time. So it's not working. I'm going to listen. It's made some sort of weird sound. Huh. Okay. All right. So here's my kind of last resort. I think there's a chance the issue may be the motherboard. This one. So I'm going to swap out the motherboard for another one. Now, I don't know if this one works. This is off one that I'm not sure if it was functional, but I'm going to plug in the controller port assembly, reset button, and I'm going to plug in this motherboard. It's from the DOL 001 because it has the 2 ports. So I know it'll be compatible. Obviously, if it was a DOL 00 or 101, it would have the power board on deck on this part of the machine on the motherboard. Okay. All right. Let's try that. Oh. Y'all, I'm losing it. I didn't even plug it in. Didn't even plug it in. All right, one more time. Uh-oh. Hey. Hey, you know what? That's good enough for me. So what happened was we got it to spin, and it went through its cycle and then it stopped spinning. So what that usually means is that you know, the machine is, the laser needs to be adjusted. We can fix that. We can fix that. Don't worry about that. But I'm not sure if you heard that, but I got the GameCube logo. It's telling me to reset my time and other options, whatever. That means that at the very least, like, this motherboard works. So that begs the question, what was wrong with this one? This one doesn't seem any different. Let's just take a visual look at these, as if there's any other kind of look. I don't see any sort of obvious issues. They look very similar. I was looking to see if there's any sort of modification. We saw that weird power supply down there, so it's unclear whether or not the previous owner decided to try and modify it. I am genuinely not seeing any sort of changes here. I don't know what these serial numbers mean on the front here, on the top. So this one, the one I just changed it for, says 3711201U right here. Sorry. And then along here, there's a different set of numbers. It says 4322504U. I'm assuming those are just serial numbers, so that won't give people too much of an idea, but I just genuinely can't see anything wrong. So this, I don't know, I might just get froggy and try and plug this into a different cube and see if it works. Obviously, none of the stuff we did was necessary, but that also means that, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world, because at no point are we, you know, we're not like I'm not in a situation where like I don't have other working parts. Like I know that the parts I plugged in probably also, or that I took out probably also work. So let's just, I'm just gonna put this power supply all the way in. I am a little curious now to see if the original power supply, the one with the weird marking on it, would still work, but I'm just not gonna fool with that. I will do that on my own time, because that could just be hours and hours of just trial and error, where no one wants to actually see that. So, okay, that is in. Let's get the this one in. I need 2 big screws for the center. Here you go. How's your mother? Always reverse your screws before you screw them down when you're screwing, especially when you're screwing into plastic, because you don't want to cross thread that. Let's get this plugged in and these screwed down. And I'm not sure if there's some sort of like issue that might happen from long-term use of the Game Boy player. I know that sounds stupid, but like, I don't know what, if you were trying to mod it in order to use the game. I don't know. I just don't know. Like I said, I can't see any obvious problems with this board, so it could be anything. And this could be one of those things that's like way out of my purview, you know? Like I know there's plenty of people who will whip out a accelerometer, a multimeter to mess with the potentiometer or something like that. I can do that, no problem. That's something I do. I plan on doing that probably today if cleaning the lens doesn't work. But there are plenty of people out here that will test all the traces and try and see if they can find the right voltage across the board. And that is all well and good. And those people are my heroes. And I love watching them on YouTube. I got news for you. That ain't me, y'all. I am more of a crack it open. I can do the basic fixes. I can clean the shells. I can swap parts out. I can kind of diagnose some problems. But it is definitely not me when it comes to the super advanced stuff, because it just isn't worth the time and effort to learn it monetarily. Like I said, if I break even on these, I am over the moon. Typically I lose money on these, but it's more about learning, you know, for me. So one thing that I'm going to do, oops, I'm gonna unplug this first, is I'm going to take a little bit of isopropyl and oops, let me get a paper towel. Okay. So what you're going to want to do, the first step whenever laser won't read, is you're going to want to pour a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and then I'll take a tweezer and a little bit of something super soft. A Q-tip works better, but you know, I don't have Q-tips at the moment. I haven't gone to the store in a while. So I take it, put it on the end of a little paper, and I just get in there and very gently rub the surface of the laser, being extremely careful not to actually scratch it with your tweezers. And then I'll take a piece of paper, again, a dry one this time, I grab it by the furthest I possibly can from the end with my tweezers, and I'll just kind of wipe it with the dry just to get any extra. Blow on it, and then let's try it again, because there's a chance that that's all that it takes. A lot of people kind of fuss and fuss over this, and it really just needed to be cleaned. So let's try one more time. Okay, didn't work that time. I can see it. I'm not sure if you can see it in the video. I'm going to try and get a little closer and show you, or just kind of point it out. So you should be able to see the red through the disc when I hit it in a second, and you'll see it kind of going up and down. And it's moving the laser up and down to try and read the pits, and if it can't, then it won't. And to me, see, well, one more time. Right at the end there. It's hard to see. Honestly, I'm not sure if I could do much better for you. But it's just, I think it's looking. And so one thing that I have seen online is you can, and I've done successfully several times to Game Boys that are to Game Cubes that I have bought and sold, is you can adjust the potentiometer. So I am going to do that for you. And it is a super simple process, but I would strongly suggest you get a multimeter. And what the multimeter will let you do is it will let you read the resistance of this potentiometer right here. So I'm going to get in real close so you can see what I'm talking about. So, okay. What you should be able to see now is the board, and right here, this little thing that looks a little bit like a screw, and you'll be able to see the detail on it, but it looks, when you're up close to it, like a little screw. See that guy? That is the laser potentiometer. And the potentiometer is just anything that you can kind of move to increase or decrease the electrical resistance of something, I think. So what you do is you take your multimeter and you poke it. I'm going to try and get the multimeter into frame here so you can see. So you turn it on. You're going to turn it on to resistance. So ohms. It's down there with the little horseshoe, the omega. And you're going to touch both ends of this potentiometer. Oops, let's go to a lower denomination there. We're getting 221. So that is the resistance. And so you take your screwdriver and you take it. I've seen things saying that you shouldn't go under 150, I think. And basically what we're doing here, just to be completely clear, is you are reducing the resistance, the electrical resistance in this potentiometer between the unit itself and the laser, like the actual laser beam. And so the more you reduce the resistance, the stronger the beam gets. This is a bit of a life support move, right? Like eventually in the next, I don't know how long it'll take, but like 10, 20 years from now, this trick won't work because you'll be putting too much power through the laser and then it might damage the disc. So at a certain point, you have to replace the laser. No problem. But for now, this is like a perfectly reasonable fix to keep this thing going for another couple of decades, it would seem. So you take your screwdriver and you turn it counterclockwise, maybe a quarter of a turn, or sorry, a quarter of a 16th of a turn. And then you read your resistance again, and you'll notice it dropped to 130. I barely moved it at all. So let's move it just up, just a tiny bit back towards where we came from, because I don't want it to be quite that low. Man, it is so sensitive. I'm just making little tiny baby turns on it. Okay, we landed at 142. That's fine. So I'm going to put this aside for now. And then I'm going to put this back on. The beauty of this is that as long as you keep this shroud off, you can just kind of keep on adjusting it as you need to. Okay. Sorry, I thought I heard something rattling around. I got nervous. Okay, so we're back on. Power is going back in. Mario Sunshine is going to go right back on. And then let's see. And how do I, by the way, I know I'm not showing you the TV. How do I know if it's working or not? Well, the laser obviously stopped at one point, just kind of and then it just stopped. Also, there's a really fun way to know, even just acoustically, whether it's going to work or not. And that's when you can hear this high-pitched spinning noise it'll make. It'll go into like second gear once it recognizes that there's something on there. And so that's the sound you're looking for. So let's just see. There it is. Did you hear it? We're in business, y'all. We are in business. So just to recap, we got the system and it turned on, or rather the LED turned on and the fan turned on, which means that power was going somewhere and ideally through the motherboard. But then this whole unit was non-responsive, which means that something was wrong. Now there's a chance that the only thing that's wrong with this original motherboard is that this connector is bad somehow. And, you know, I would entertain the idea of trying to resolder this, but I mean, I don't know if you can see, it's not just the two main solder points. It's, you know, this row of, it's like 30 solder points or some unbelievable amount of numbers for this whole thing. So this is not an easy fix. And it's definitely not for a beginner like me. I'm not great at soldering. I've only tried a few times. So this honestly just may be scrap. And you can pick up a new motherboard for a GameCube pretty easily. So, you know, c'est la vie. This isn't the worst thing in the world. Although this is going to set me back, you know, if I didn't have one sitting around, it's going to set you back like $10 or something like that. So you try and factor that into the cost of the repair. But I also swapped out a bunch of parts just for fun. I have absolutely no doubt that all of these parts that I swapped out, the spindle motor, the catch mechanism, the fan, the power supply, although I want to look that up, and the power button assembly, I have no doubt that all of those are actually fine. I was just shooting shots in the dark to see if I could pick the one thing that was going to make it work, and of course, it ended up being the biggest piece in the machine. So then we fired it on, but it wouldn't read discs, and I showed you the potentiometer trick, which is hardly a trick. It's more just kind of a method by which you can make the laser better and last longer. The only other option really at this point, if that hadn't have worked, would be to replace the laser, which I could do. I have a backup laser. They don't cost a bunch. I picked this one up for $10 off of a site. I'll flash it up if I can remember, in England, and it looks like either a kind of certified refurbished part or a new old stock. They don't specify, but I haven't tried it. It would have been a fun time to try it today, but the potentiometer trick worked. So I would just advise against anybody doing the potentiometer trick unless you have a multimeter, because like I said, if you get too low on that resistance, it will damage your games. And I would never sell a GameCube that would potentially damage someone's games. That would be unethical, and I certainly wouldn't want it in my own house. So what I'm going to do off camera is just double, triple check the numbers that I saw on the internet about ohm resistance numbers on the potentiometer to make sure that I'm well within that threshold. I'm pretty sure I saw like 130 to 160 was kind of the butter zone. I've seen things don't go as low as 100, don't go as low as 80. I've seen all sorts of numbers, but I'm just going to double check. make sure, because again, I would never put this up for sale if I didn't feel confident about it. It's not what it's about. I'm not trying to make a buck here. I'm just trying to make people happy. So yeah, that's the fix. I'm going to fast forward to the end here while I put it together, so you can just kind of see the money shot at the end with it all together. But yeah, thanks for coming along on this mystery cube with me. It's been a lot of fun. Okay, I haven't screwed this down yet, but I'm just going to plug it in, get the money shot of the total fix, kind of let you share in the catharsis of that with me, because it is fun to fix a GameCube soup to nuts with you. Whoever is viewing this, just forgot to plug in a controller. Okay, so oops, there we go. So satisfying, so satisfying. It came and it didn't work, and now it does. That is mystery cube number 3, done and dusted. So what I'll do next, just to prep it for sale, is I will try to address this yellowing. I'm not like a retro bright guy. There's maybe nothing I can do here. I have a couple spare case parts. I may swap out this for something a little bit less gross. I'm pretty low effort when it comes to this kind of stuff. I may try and like put it in some hydrogen peroxide for a couple days and see what happens. Maybe that'll be a fun experiment. But if I do, maybe I'll do some like a before and after. But yeah, other than that, the case looks nice and clean. I will obviously take my little polishing Dremel to it and try and get these kind of obvious big things off of it. But that's it. That's Mr. Cube number 3 in the bag. Thanks. And then stay tuned. I think the next time what I want to do is I want to see if I can get this. I didn't even try turning it on with the Game Boy player on, because I know that this won't work without the disc, and the disc is impossibly expensive. And so what I'll do is I'll try and put the mod chip in my personal one, and then see if I can get it to play a backup of the disc that I own, and see if this works. So that'll be fun. That'll be a fun little addition to my personal GameCube. Anyway, so thanks for watching, and I guess tune in next time.